At 04:10 on 12th of October 1943, snow whipped across an Italian Alpine outpost as radio traffic spiked without cause. An observer logged enemy armor advancing where maps showed nothing. 48 hours later, Allied units appeared exactly there. The bunker, carved into dolomite above the Adige Valley, was designated Osservatorio R-19. Built to withstand artillery, it housed rangefinders, optics, and a 6-man night watch. No equipment inside was designed for prediction, only observation. Corporal Valley felt pressure behind his eyes as he scanned the valley. The glass shimmered. He saw troop columns that were not there yet, moving in perfect silence. His pulse spiked, hands trembling as he reported the sighting. Italian Army logs show R-19 issued 3 false positives that month. 2 were dismissed. The third matched Allied movement within a margin of 1.2 kilometers. Command noted the coincidence but ordered continued monitoring. By late October, multiple sentries reported the same phenomenon. Visions arrived unbidden, lasting seconds. Always future events. Always precise. One soldier vomited after watching an artillery barrage that had not yet occurred. Engineering schematics reveal the bunker sat atop a magnetite-rich fault line. Seismic surveys recorded low-frequency vibrations, averaging 37 to 39 hertz, fluctuating with temperature drops. No link was established at the time. Lieutenant Ferraro attempted controlled tests. He ordered silent watches. No radio chatter. Within minutes, 2 men independently described the same advancing formation, same timing, same direction. Ferraro ended the test early, visibly shaken. A classified memo sent to Rome questioned whether stress hallucinations could synchronize. Medical officers disagreed. Shared delusions did not explain consistent geographic accuracy across multiple future events. On the 2nd November, Valley collapsed mid-watch. Before losing consciousness, he whispered coordinates and a time. 12 hours later, Allied reconnaissance planes crossed that grid at the predicted altitude and speed. After that night, R-19's reports were rerouted away from standard command channels. A new stamp appeared on the files. Osservazione non convenzionale. Unconventional observation. No explanation attached. Medical staff arrived on 4th of November and found no signs of poisoning or fatigue psychosis. Heart rate spiked during sightings, then normalized. EEG readings showed unusual coherence across subjects, a pattern doctors admitted they could not explain. Ferraro noted the visions intensified during temperature inversions, when cold air pressed down into the valley. Men described time feeling compressed, seconds stretching unnaturally. Watches remained accurate, but perception did not. A geological appendix added to the bunker's file mentioned piezoelectric effects in stressed dolomite. Under pressure, the rock could generate weak electrical fields. The report concluded the output was negligible and likely irrelevant. Yet sentries complained of faint blue flashes inside the optics room, reflected nowhere else. Valley described them as after-images of moments that had not happened. He began sleeping with his eyes covered, afraid to see more. Intercepted Allied records later confirmed R-19 predictions matched 3 troop redeployments and 1 artillery relocation. Statistical officers calculated odds below 1 in 20,000. The calculation was marked theoretical only. On 9th of November, a German liaison officer arrived unannounced. He ordered the rangefinder recalibrated and installed a new optical element, labeled only with a serial number. Its glass refracted light slightly out of phase. Technicians recorded immediate changes. Visions arrived faster, sharper, and now included sound. Men heard engines, shouted commands, even artillery fuses burning. None of it existed yet in the valley below. Ferraro protested the modification, noting increased distress among his men. The liaison replied that Berlin required expanded temporal visibility. No written order accompanied the statement. 2 nights later, a sentry fired his weapon at an approaching unit he could see clearly. The bullet struck empty snow. 20 hours later, Allied scouts advanced along the same line. After that incident, the bunker's doors were sealed from the outside during watches. Guards were told the men inside were operationally sensitive. R-19 ceased reporting through Italian command entirely. Sleep deprivation set in fast. Men reported dreams bleeding into waking sight, past and future overlapping in the optics. Valley wrote that he no longer knew whether he was remembering or anticipating events yet to occur. German technical notes described the new optic as a phase-offset refractor, intended to exploit temporal lag in light transmission. The math was speculative, margins handwritten, several variables circled with question marks. On the 14th November, the bunker predicted an Allied feint that never materialized. Confidence cracked. Ferraro documented tremors, disorientation, and delayed speech among the crew. For the first time, the visions were wrong. Analysts later flagged this as a critical deviation. Prediction accuracy dropped sharply after extended exposure, suggesting neurological saturation or feedback distortion. The system, whatever it was, appeared to degrade its operators. That night, Valley screamed during watch. He claimed he saw the bunker destroyed, crushed inward, men trapped screaming without sound. He described faces none of them recognized, wearing uniforms from no known army. German correspondents marked this entry inadmissible and ordered continued operation. One margin note read, "Future bleed-through exceeds acceptable scope." The phrase appeared nowhere else in Axis archives. Seismic instruments recorded a sudden spike at 0217. Vibrations reached 41 Hertz, sustained for nearly 3 minutes. Lights dimmed. The optic emitted a steady glow without external illumination. Every man in the bunker simultaneously reported the same vision: Allied forces occupying the valley, and the bunker already abandoned. The timestamp differed between accounts by minutes. Statistical reconciliation failed. Analysts concluded the event was not a single prediction, but multiple temporal viewpoints, collapsing into one perceptual window. At dawn, Ferraro ordered evacuation. The German liaison overruled him remotely, citing strategic necessity. The bunker was locked down. No further Italian command signatures appear after this point. From that day forward, R-19 produced no tactical forecasts, only fragmented notes, increasingly incoherent, describing time folding, stacking, and pressing inward. On 18th November, radio operators outside R-19 reported faint transmissions, bleeding through unused frequencies. The signals carried no code, only fragments of speech describing events days ahead, spoken calmly as if already remembered. Signal logs show the broadcasts arrived before the events they described. One transmission detailed an artillery strike scheduled 36 hours later. When it occurred, shell count and impact spacing matched exactly. Inside the bunker, men stopped using names. Ferraro wrote that identity felt delayed, as though each thought arrived moments after it was formed. Speech slowed. Reactions lagged behind stimuli by measurable seconds. Medical analysts later noted reaction time delays averaging 4.6 seconds, increasing daily. No toxin or injury explained the degradation. One neurologist proposed prolonged exposure to synchronized low-frequency fields. German oversight intensified. Power was rerouted directly to the optic chamber. Temperature controls were overridden. Seismic readings stabilized at a constant 39.8 Hz, an unnatural consistency for a natural fault. Valley's final coherent entry described seeing Allied soldiers entering the bunker and ignoring the Italians entirely. "They walk through us," he wrote. "We are already somewhere else." A marginal note in German follows. Subject experiencing displacement, not hallucination. The author's name is redacted. The page is stamped twice, as if approved in haste. On 21st November, an external patrol reported the bunker lights extinguished suddenly. No explosion, no collapse. Power draw dropped to 0 in under 1 second, defying shutdown protocols. When the bunker was opened 3 days later, all equipment was intact. Food untouched, weapons stacked. The men were gone. No footprints in the snow, no blood, no signs of struggle. Only the optic remained warm to the touch. Instruments recorded residual field decay lasting 48 hours. Afterward, readings returned to baseline, as if the mountain itself had exhaled. All files related to Osservatorio R-19 were sealed under joint axis classification. The bunker was filled with concrete in 1944. Allied engineers later reported persistent interference near the site, even decades after the war. Post-war Allied intelligence recovered fragments of the R-19 file in northern Italy. Analysts initially dismissed them as stress-induced myth-making, until timeline comparisons revealed repeated temporal lead, times averaging 30 hours. One British report noted the predictions did not alter outcomes. They observed, recorded, and suffered, but never changed the future they saw. This limitation raised questions about whether the bunker observed probability or inevitability. Geophysicists, revisiting the site in 1952, detected residual magnetic shear along the fault line. Instruments drifted out of calibration within minutes. One technician compared the sensation to standing beside a running generator you cannot hear. Italian villagers nearby reported strange effects during the war. Clocks stopping briefly. Echoes arriving before the sound. One shepherd claimed he saw soldiers on the ridge days before units actually arrived. A NATO-era seismic survey found the bunker fill vibrated subtly at night, oscillating near 40 Hz during winter inversions. The readings were logged, flagged, then quietly archived without follow-up. In 1961, a declassified German engineering notebook surfaced referencing R phenomenon. It described time as a layered medium, not a line, and warned that observation under resonance could cause overlap rather than foresight. One passage stated, "Operators do not see the future. They are temporarily aligned with it." The sentence was underlined twice. The rest of the page was torn out. Psychologists reviewing survivor testimonies from other sites noted similarities: temporal dissociation, delayed identity, loss of agency. None, however, matched the predictive accuracy documented at R-19. By the 1970s, the bunker's location vanished from public maps. Trails were rerouted, survey markers removed. Locals were told the mountain was unstable. No warning signs mentioned history. Modern satellite imagery still shows mild distortion over the ridge during certain seasons. Analysts attribute it to terrain shadowing. Others quietly note the anomaly only appears during temperature inversions. If archives like this are meant to stay buried, remember that visibility is a choice. And sometimes the most dangerous weapon is not seeing the future, but touching it too closely. In 1987, Italian defense contractors testing ground-penetrating radar near the ridge reported time-offset echoes, returning fractions of a second before transmission. The anomaly was logged as equipment error. No second test was authorized. A leaked NATO memo from 1994 warned of passive temporal convergence zones in mountainous regions with specific geological and atmospheric conditions. R-19 was listed as the only confirmed wartime case. The memo concluded such zones could not be exploited reliably. Human exposure degraded rapidly, outcomes could not be altered, and operators were often removed from conventional temporal flow. Ferraro's final notebook page, found misfiled decades later, contained one line written repeatedly until the ink tore the paper. We are not looking ahead. We are standing in it. Today, hikers occasionally report disorientation near the sealed bunker site. Minutes vanish. Sounds arrive early. Instruments drift. Authorities attribute it to altitude and fatigue. The mountain remains quiet, but archives confirm one thing. During the war, a place existed where soldiers did not glimpse the future of the war. They briefly lived inside it.